YouTube, just a quick update now. So I wanted to do a video on the differences between qualities of wraps, okay, and what to expect, what you're going to see, especially as a DIYer, and as far as longevity. So I've got a couple of things here. I've got the old Ranger wrapped in a couple of different types of wrap, so I can show you what's going on with that. Give you an update on the Pink VE. So that's getting rewrapped at the moment. As you can see, the roof's a different colour, and just what to expect from a cheap wrap that you might see on eBay. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's the old Ranger. I'll put the wrapping in this video. So I've got a multitude of different things going on here. So this here is a pretty good quality. It is a Chinese chrome. All right, mirror chrome. We've got Daddy G Wraps black, gloss black. That's just the standard gloss black. So I've just washed the car, so it's wet. I put a bit of the Dragon's blood down here, just for the sake of it. I will replace that with black, just to tie in with the theme. And then this is a cheap wrap purchased on eBay. So start with the Daddy G wraps. All right, so this is consistent. That's from a rock, so that's happened since I wrapped it. But yeah, this is, it's a good finish. It's not peeling anywhere. Where it's tucked over is all good, and you've got a good mirror finish on it. Same with the roof there in the middle. We go back to this eBay wrap, and you can see, even though it's been post heated, it just won't stay under. The adhesive's not strong enough to hold on the underside, so you'd either have to do a very big tail and lip it under, so you've got more surface area for the adhesive to hold onto. But you can see everywhere it should have just tucked down. It's been post heated, it's not sticking down. All right, textured surfaces it really hates, so you can see that's just going to peel straight off. Whereas on the other side I've got the chrome, which is not really made for doing this sort of thing, but anyway, I'll have to rewrap that now. So, and then you've got a few complex areas. So this car I specifically did because I've got panel damage here. I just haven't got around to getting this tidied up, but you can see here it's actually got worse since I just washed the car. It does not want to, the adhesive's just too slack, it's too low tack. So you can see there's not much sort of holding that in there at the moment. This has been post heated, and it took quite a while to start coming back. Once it did start coming back, it's just gone crazy. All right, you can see here this deep depression here as well. They were all in neat. There was no air behind anything, so now the air started to suck back in past it. It's not going to stay. All right, now that's the blacks overlapping. You can see that there's no issues with tension anywhere on the black. So that's my Daddy G wraps. That's really good. We'll go back over to the other side to our chrome. Now this chrome I am selling through Daddy G wraps, but it does not conform really well. So gentle curves it will do. It really doesn't like deeper recesses. So this has been post heated a few times. Unfortunately, I got a bit of water on it, and that's become a bit of an issue. So the other thing to mention is that this stuff, it doesn't come in a full 1.3 meter roll. You can see here it's got water under there now, and it's actually started to crack and peel. So as far as chrome, specifically this chrome, it's a multi-layer chrome, is really difficult to try and get on. But you can see adhesion wise it's heaps better. I could just put a bit of adhesion promoter under there and that'd stick down, but this is it's got fingers and it's terrible, don't get me wrong. We're not looking at the job, we're looking at the quality of the wrap and the adhesive at the moment. So this has been done in 3 parts, and even though it's been done in 3 parts, it's still too much of a curve for this wrap because it's curving both ways. It tends to want to shrink, not stretch. All right, and at this point here, you can see a bit of a line through there, and that was because I cracked it. I split it when I was installing it, trying to pull it back up to stretch it back that point. All right, everything's got to be done in multiple layers because it's not tall enough to do the whole car. And you can see, let's get in the nitty gritty. You can see as we come down here, I couldn't get it to wrap around. All right, so I've had to do a separate piece here. That piece is separate, and then the same here. I couldn't get it to curve down here the right way, so I ended up cutting it back up here, basically because I'd wrecked it. Now, when you stand back, you don't see it, so it's not a major issue. However, it's just not the right way of doing it. It's just not ideal. The other thing to notice is discoloration. So you can see here, this color here to this color here is not the wrap's issue. That's my issue because of the angle difference between the 2 wraps. All right, they need to be in the same profile, same line. That piece there, I stretched out at a different layer. All right, so consequently, we've got a color differential there. If you look here, this is overstretched. That color differential there is because I stretched the wrap too far. All right, once again, this isn't a showpiece. It's not a customer's car. It was just something to tidy it up a bit, but also to prove a point. All right, now you'll see a lot of these cars wrapped in this color and the holographics and that sort of thing, and they've got usually a black stripe or pin line or something like that. That's because this stuff is so terrible, you will get issues with it. So like this down here, all sorts of problems. Anyway, so that's why that graphic's been laid on. It's effective, it looks good, but that's because that split up the top. All right, let's move over to the Commodore. Righto. So the old sausage magnet has held in pretty well. We did have a few issues with it, which you can see here. That's got adhesion promoter underneath it, and it still struggles to stick. One here where, I don't know why, but it looks like that's sort of rubbed on it. You can see here where the bonnet scoop moves differently to the bonnet. It's sort of peeled back a bit. I did a test with the Daddy G wraps and we didn't have an issue. All right, so all this here, where it's tucking around, it's been an issue from the start. Once again, it looks good, it's pretty effective, but yeah, this stuff too, I had issues with it. It was a 20-meter roll. It was only about $300 Australian delivered, so for 20 meters that's ridiculously cheap. But it is very, very, very delicate. So if you don't have it at the right temperature, it will just snap. All right, so not the easiest stuff to work with, but for the sake of this car, it's been good, I suppose. It's saved the paint a couple of times. You can see down here it's stretched and split. All right, so 12 months on, it's time for this wrap to go, because it's just going to be a real pain in the ass to try and pull off if we leave it any longer. So as far as adhesion around the door handles, it's actually been pretty good. Just these fine lips is pretty well the only points where it just wouldn't stick. And because I've had to heat it and stick it down a few times, we've got all these little imperfections around. So this is a Daddy G wraps peppermint. All right, she hasn't washed it yet, but you can see it sticks down. It's It's really stuck down good everywhere. I've got one little finger here, but this has been applied for about 2 weeks and I haven't gone over it yet. So it hasn't been post heated or anything. That's a peppermint gloss. It's filthy at the moment, but this is the colour the car's going. So this is a cheap eBay carbon. See how it's got all these little arcs? It's all starting to perish and go. So once again, that's 12 months on. All right. So what I think you can probably expect for most of those cheaper wraps is that you might get 12 months out of it. The adhesion for this wrap has been terrible. It's very thick and it's hard to do compound corners. And it's just from the start, within a month, all these bits started to come up. They haven't got any worse, but there was nothing I could really do to try and tidy it up other than I could have cut along that edge and then put another strip underneath. But this time we'll do it different. So same story in here. I two-pieced this intentionally and it's still shit. So we've started peeling bits off, but you can see how bad it is, all the dirt that's been clogged up behind it. So around the reverse sensors, this is after post heating and everything several times, so it's just, the adhesion's just not there. Now this is a pink chrome that I did a couple of postie bikes with, and I'm going to wrap this car. This is the old press. I'm going to wrap it with this pink chrome, hence doing this bit, but it's actually conformed quite well. It's not real complex curves around here, and I did do a join in here just in case, but it looks pretty awesome. And that's one of my Daddy G wraps. So keep an eye out for the old press. There's a few little bits of rust coming up and stone chips galore through this bonnet, so we need to get it all tidied up first, and then after Porsche's car, it's the next one to wrap. So I hope that's given you a bit of an idea on what to expect with the cheaper wraps versus the quality wraps. The wraps I sell they're not overly expensive, and they might be 3 times the price of an eBay wrap, even 4 times the price for a majority of them, but it shows, you're going to have a much better finish and the end result as it is, and it's going to last a lot longer too. So far the wraps I've done on multiple cars with Daddy U wraps, I haven't had an issue, haven't had callbacks. I request people to come back after 2 weeks just so I can go over everything. A lot of the cars I wrap have panel damage and issues and that sort of thing, so I just want to make sure it's going to adhere to those areas. And sometimes you might need a bit of adhesion promoter, but in the 20 odd cars I've done, I still haven't needed adhesion promoter on any of them, even on high fill and substandard surfaces. Alrighty, well, keep an eye out for the next video.